Hello everyone, I'm Janata Riva. Today I will present my topic participatory research. In this presentation, I will explain the concept of participatory research, its main method, qualitative approaches, data sources, sampling, and finally its advantages and criticism. Let's start our presentation. Now we will understand what participatory research actually means. Participatory research is an approach where respondents are not just passive subjects, instead, they actively take part in the research process. They will help to generate information, interpret it, and sometimes even analyze their own data. In this method, the role of researcher changes rather than being the solo decision maker. Researcher act more like a facilitator. This means the focus shifts toward the participant's own experiences and viewpoint, what we call insider or emic perspective, instead of imposing outside interpretations. There are two key of participatory research. First, it is rooted in anthropology. It builds an ethnographic method which involves depth long-term engagement with communities to truly understand their lives and context. And second, the data collection and analysis happen together. Participants are involved in making sense of the information, which improves the accuracy and validity of the research finding. Overall, participatory research makes the process more inclusive, collaborative, and meaningful. Method of participatory research. Participatory research uses several interactive tools and methods that involve participants throughout the research process. One important framework is Participatory Rural Appraisal (PRA) and Participatory Learning and Action (PLA). Thus, approaches encourages communities to analyze their own situation and participate in decision making. Another commonly used method is focused interviews and focus group discussion, which allow researchers to explore shared experiences and perspective in depth. Researchers also use observation and mapping techniques such as participant observation, transect work, and participatory mapping to understand the real life environment of communities. In addition, communities may participate in analytical exercises such as work ranking, seasonal calendar, Venn diagrams, and flowcharts to help visualize and interpret their social and economic realities. Key qualitative approaches. Participatory research also draw on several qualitative approaches that focus on human experiences and narratives. One method is oral history, which individuals share their life experiences, memories, and opinions through open-ended interviews. The case study method collects detailed information about a particular person, group, or organization using multiple sources such as interviews, documents, and observation. Another method is life history, which reconstruct an individual life experiences to understand broader social and historical processes. Finally, narrative research focus on how individuals interpret and explain their own experiences, highlighting personal stories and diverse perspectives. Now let's move on grounded theory. Grounded theory is a qualitative research approach that works differently from traditional methods. Instead of starting with a theory, it began with real-world data. From this data, theories are gradually developed. In simple terms, theory is built from the grounded up. This method reverses the conventional research process. Normally, in a qualitative research, we begin with an idea, then develop a theory, design the study, collect data, analyze it, and finally reach finding. However, in grounded theory, the process is different. It starts with an idea, followed by research design and data collection, then through continuous analysis, a, a research theory emerge which lead to final finding. This method is especially used for explanatory participatory research where local experiences and meaning are very important. It allows researchers to understand situations from the participant perspective. Another important point is that grounded theory produces two types of theory. First, substantive theories which are specific to particular context. Second, formal theories which are broader and can be applied across different situations. Data source and sampling in participatory research. Participatory research uses different type of data sources. The most important source is primary data, which is collected directly from participants through interviews, discussion, and observation. Researcher may also use secondary data such as report or dataset from organization to support and provide context for the research. Sometimes tertiary sources such as summarized or interactive material are used. In terms of sampling, participatory research generally uses non-profitably sampling methods such as convenience sampling, purposive sampling, quota sampling, and snowball sampling. These methods focus on obtaining detailed and relevant information rather than achieving statistically representation. Qualitative analysis of data. Qualitative data analysis is not a one-time process, it is interactive and continuous, meaning it happens alongside data collection and often require revising earlier steps. There are four main steps involved. First, we compile field notes. This means organizing observation and keeping proper record of the context in which the data was collected. It helps us understand the situation more clearly. Second, we transcribe interviews. Here, the convert spoken interviews into written form. This can be done word by word, known as verbatim transcription. Third, we code the data and develop. Coding means labeling important part of the data. From this code, we identify pattern and develop the broader things. This process is often guided by approaches like grounded theories. Finally, we analyze the data using tools. This can be done manually or with software like Novivo. Those tools help improve transparency and make the analysis more systematic. Now, I will discuss report writing in qualitative research. Report writing is a very important part of qualitative research. It connects the researcher with the topic and help communicate the finding to wider audience. A good qualitative research usually has three main sectors. First, introduction and background. This section explains the research context the purpose of the study and the problem being investigated. It helps the reader understand why research is important. Second, methodology and sample. Here, the researcher describes how the study was conducted. This includes the method used, sources of data, and how participants were selected. It ensured the study is clear and understandable. And third, the finding and discussion. In this section, researchers present the result and explain their meaning. In qualitative research, finding and discussion are often combined. The results are supported with direct quotas and evidence, which are written according to academic reference style. Finally, a strong qualitative report should maintain reflexibility, transability, and attention to participants' voice. Researcher must clearly explain how data was collected, transcribed, coded, and interpreted to ensure findings are trustworthy. Now look at the criticism of participatory research. Participatory method involve engaging participants actively in the research process. While they offer many benefits, they have some limitation also. First, let's look at the criticism. Thus method may introduce bias as participant and researcher can influence the result. They also have limited generalizability, meaning the finding may not apply to all contexts. In addition, participatory research is often time consuming and sometimes viewed as less rigorous or soft compared to qualitative method. On the other hand, there are some advantages also. Participatory methods are flexible and interactive, allowing researchers to adapt during the process. They focus on local priorities, ensuring the research reflect real community needs. As a result, they provide contextual valid insight which are especially useful for bottom-up planning and decision making. Finally, the success of participatory method depend on several factors. It requires the right researcher attitude, strong ethical engagement, and ability to turn finding into practical and local relevant policy recommendation. Thank you for your attention. This was a brief overview of participatory research and its method. Now, I would be happy to answer any question you may have. Thank you everyone. Assalamu alaikum.